during this time when Billy Graham was coming down and staying with Johnny Cash, Johnny and June Cash had made a movie called, I think, The Gospel Road. It was really for churches' use, and it was shown in theaters. It wasn't really real popular. It was a Christian film. And when they were making the film and sort of doing, I think they called the cuts or the rushes or something, they wanted Johnny to look at them and approve them and all, and he was in Jamaica. And so they sent down 16 millimeter film for him to look at. Well, nobody had 16 millimeter film, and so Johnny asked me if he could buy a projector, what he could do, how he could find a projector with 16 millimeter film. Well, the theaters in town were on 32 millimeter or something. I can't remember what it was. So I started asking around. It turned out that Half Moon Hotel had a 16 millimeter projector and a projection room where they would show movies to the guests at Half Moon Hotel. And I was very friendly with the manager. I knew the manager very well, Heinz Semenich. And I told him that, hey, Johnny Cash wanted to look at the, oh, great, fine. Yes, you can use the projector room. Just, figure out when you want to use it. We'll make it available to you. So I went back and told Billy, and I remember I told Johnny, I had it set up, and I remember Billy sitting there, and Billy said, how big is the projection room? I said, I didn't really see it. He just told me he had it. He said, well, if you can find out how big is the room, why don't you invite some of your employees and maybe he knew I'd told him before about the missionary church we were going to there in Montego Bay, and invite some of your church friends, and if there's enough space, and let them see the movie. Okay, that's a good idea. So I found out that it seated about 50 people. So I put the word out at work and told Cindy and Randy and told the church people and all. So it turned out that we had the night of the showing, Billy Graham shows up and Johnny and June, and I think we had 60 or 70 people show up. I know there was standing room. They couldn't all sit down. There was standing room. And the point of the story is that here was a little group of people, Jamaicans, uh, of no real significance in the whole scheme of things. But after the movie, Billy Graham stood up and he said, I feel led to bring a message, just a simple little message to you people. I really think it's nice that you came and we all enjoyed the movie, but I'd just like to say a few words if it's okay with everybody. And everybody said, yes, 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 fine. Very informal. And so Billy just gave a little message and an altar call. Mm. And I confess that I sort of peeked to see how many people were raising their hands. And I'd say more than half of the room did.
Serious.
Yeah. And it was interesting that Cindy had invited her best friend, who was an East Indian girl, Jamaica, and her family to come to the movie. And they came and they were there. And she had a younger brother. She had two younger brothers. One of them, much younger, he was probably 14, 15 years old, maybe something like that. And I kind of noticed that her whole family her, Sheila, and kind of all raised their hands and all. And she thought it was great. And so everybody really had a great time. And it was just, here was Billy, preaches to millions, a little group of 60 people, Jamaicans. He took the time to give an altar call to these people. So had a wonderful meeting. Everybody said thank you and we left. About a week later, Sheila's little brother was at I think it's Doctor's Cave Hotel. There's a high-rise hotel over by Doctor's Cave Beach. It sort of like goes up a cliff. And he was there with some friends playing around, so on and so forth. How it happened, they don't really know, but he fell off the walkway there all the way down to the ground, which was about 4 or 5 stories, and was killed. Fell and was killed. And so, of course, Sheila and the rest of the family was just devastated. But Sheila especially said, I think he's in heaven. Even though we're all we're East Indians and we're um, I think I can't remember, not Hindu. There's another branch of the anyway. They weren't Christians. They were East Indians.
Yeah.
But Sheila became a wonderful Christian. Her husband, not so much so. Her other brother, yes, absolutely fanatical Christian. To this day, he volunteers time with some of the churches in Jamaica to help them out. He's still in Jamaica. Sheila, absolute solid Christian. And so it's her belief and my belief that that little boy accepted the Lord.
And that was thanks to Billy Graham on that night to make the request.
Yeah. That Billy Graham was just went out of his way to help about 60 little Jamaicans.
So for him, the gospel was his life. It was not something he did in front of presidents or millions of people. He did it every day, regular ham and eggers.
So some people criticize him and all and say that he's just out for big publicity and big events and so. I was a true guy.
Amen.
Amen.